But the moment that you get in the pool, the lights, we have like this big spotlight on us, can't see anything around us. So it really does become this really like intimate moment between you and your partner. There is a lot of trust that you slowly develop with each other, a lot of learning each other's bodies. And because we do it with a few different partners, the consistency of like feeling each other out and knowing like, okay, this person has these intricacies and like this person does their head this way, so I have to avoid that because otherwise we'll smack heads.
Well, hello. Welcome back, viewers and listeners. We are here in the studio, back for another episode of On Call. Today, on this beautiful morning, we have a very special guest that I would like you all to meet today. She goes by the name of Ellenatakos. Welcome to the studio.
Hi.
Audible cheering. Thank you for joining us here today. Yeah. I know it's we all kind of have a busy schedule and all, and we're just really lucky to have you here today. So
Thank you for having me. I'm so excited.
Yeah, thanks for coming through. So yeah, I mean, besides being an amazing performer, an awesome human being, we like to use this chance to kind of get in depth a little bit more about just what you do, and just find out that we're all a little bit more relatable than we think. So I'm excited to get this started and for the viewers to get to know you.
Oh, me too.
So yeah. Let's just start off with a simple question to kind of open things up. What was your journey like moving here to Las Vegas?
Mine was a bit interesting. I guess it wasn't as like straightforward as most people who are just like, I want to move there and off we go. I'm from New York City originally, and then I was living in Australia, and then I had always had this like heart for LA and this like want to move out there. From when I was 16. And after Australia, I got caught there in the pandemic. So the moment the borders opened, I was like, I'm moving to LA. I'm like restarting my life. We're going to do this all over again. And I was in LA for about, like 2.5 years-ish. And then I got the opportunity to come and cover for Magic Mike Live. And so I was like, okay, great. It was about to be maybe 2.5 weeks of doing the shows, and I was so stoked. And so I came out here. I was living in the Sahara casino.
In the casino?
Yeah.
Nice.
I was living in the casino, had a toaster oven, and just, making it work. And then it just sort of kept getting extended, and then became the opportunity to take it full time. And so I had to decide between my life in LA and what I had built there and coming and starting again fresh here. And it was just too good of an opportunity. And I love the show so much, so I just packed up all my things and
now you're here, right?
moved to Vegas.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's awesome. That had to be such a like crazy transition. Like you mentioned toaster oven, and like you were there like living out of Sahara for like what, 2 weeks maybe? Or?
3 weeks out of Sahara. Yeah. And then our management team was like, okay, so maybe you can like find your own place for now, because it was getting extended. It had gone into a month and then 3 months, and they're like, maybe you can just like live with one of the guys or find your own spot. And I was like, I mean, okay, cool. Like I'll see if I can find a sublet. And I moved in with one of our castmates, which was amazing. Thank you so much, David Terry, for taking me in.
I know that guy.
Yeah, he's amazing. He took in homeless little me, and it was great. It's been the most like whirlwind year.
Yeah.
But in the best way possible,
Yeah. Absolutely. So you mentioned Magic Mike Live.
Yeah.
So obviously, viewers and listeners, she is a nightly performer in that show right now. So I got the opportunity to see you a couple weeks ago. Yeah. Right? I had that chance. And it was great seats. Shout out to my girlfriend. She got me.
Shout out Jenna.
Yeah, shout out Jenna. They're coworkers, by the way. That's why we're kind of like, funny. So I got a seat to where like people are kind of going in and out by that little stairwell hallway right there. So I got to kind of be in contact with all of you at least a little bit. So the people that I knew, they would walk by and I'd be like, let's go, Jameek. I would just say it like under my breath. I'd be like, okay, Elle. Yeah. All right, Kalani. And they'd be like, what? And then they would see, and it would like brighten their day up, and they'd be just so happy. But yeah, I got to see your feature in there. You get to do two features,
acts,
right? If I'm not mistaken.
Yeah,
right?
two. We do a water number and then an aerial number.
Nice. So,
Yeah.
okay, let's talk about those two things, because aerial and then a water number, it seems like kind of different. It comes with different
Yeah.
abilities, skills, and just like focus on your practices when it comes to that. Tell us a little about both of those acts and like.
So they're unlike anything I've really ever done. I mean, it's the water number especially is very dance heavy or dance forward, but I would consider it a specialty act, because the moment that you introduce water and a plexiglass,
It's so
you
different.
know,
Yeah.
it's like you literally can't get your footing. So there's this whole other art to be learned of how to move on that without slipping and falling.
I bet.
Live also, you know, we love live theater.
Yeah.
And so every night it's definitely something different. There's always something, but it makes it exciting. And yeah, it was a really fascinating thing to step into, because you can practice as much as you want in a dance studio, and you know, you're watching yourself and it's like wonderful. But the moment that you get in the pool, the lights, we have like this big spotlight on us, can't see anything around us. So it really does become this really like intimate moment between you and your partner. There is a lot of trust that you slowly develop with each other, a lot of learning each other's bodies. And because we do it with a few different partners, the consistency of like feeling each other out and knowing like, okay, this person has these intricacies, and like this person does their head this way, so I have to avoid that because otherwise we'll smack heads. So yeah, it was an interesting introduction, because you think in my rehearsal time when I was like barefoot in, you know, our choreographer's garage learning it, I was like, this feels great. Everything's amazing. And then, yeah, you get in the pool, and I was humbled real quick.
Really?
Real quick, yeah. Because you go
Whoa.
to take a step, and you're like,
You're slipping and.
yeah, you just have to, like, relearn almost how to walk, you know?
What is, like, a little bit more of the preparation before you even get to the pool then? So, obviously, there's, like, the training. You said you're in somebody's garage doing it. Like, what else? Like, is there... I'm sure, like, maybe certain lotion you can't put on, or like certain hair products.
We can't wear anything. So, no lotion, no hair product, certain makeups, you know, you can't put on anything that's going to feel slippery. So that trial and error again of like, not only do you get used to the pool, but you get used to what you can afford to do for your own body that's not going to jeopardize you or your partner, you know? And that's a whole other thing too. You know, she's a finicky pool. So we have to make sure that, you know, we're approaching it with like respect for ourselves, but also our partners.
Definitely.
And our crew, who is meticulously cleaning and listening to us when we're like, felt a little slick today. Like, they are the true heroes and saviors, because if they weren't out there making sure that we're safe, you know, Lord knows. So,
yeah. So I'm sure
Crazy.
that it has to kind of have some modifications to like your lifestyle in a way, right? Because then you gotta make sure you don't use these products or these things on a certain night if you're in, you know, and rehearsing is probably kind of similarly maybe.
Yeah.
So yeah, some lifestyle changes that kind of have to happen in order for you to make these things work on a nightly basis, right?
Yeah, I've been very dry.
Yeah.
She's been a dry-skinned gal.
And we were talking about this in the desert.
Yeah.
We're out in Vegas doing this, right? This is where our headquarters is at. And dry, dusty, doesn't matter if it's winter, if we get a little bit of rain out here, which is like foreign to the people here. Even then, it's only for like a day or two, and then we're back to dry again, right? So, yeah, I'm finding that too. We were talking about this, my face a little bit. I have to find like new like facial stuff, you know, creams and everything.
It's like an acclimatization process to even just get used to like the air in the water.
The air quality, the water.
Dude, when I first got here, I remember being in the Sahara, but being in the changing room, and I was like, my skin is cracking. Like I was cracking and bleeding because I was like, I at the time I was so scared too. I didn't want to jeopardize like being slippery, so I was like, I'm wearing nothing. I'm doing nothing. I'm never moisturizing, and my skin was not happy.
That was bad, right?
Oh my goodness, not at all.
Yikes.
So now there's a nice balance. Days off when I'm not performing, I can like have the girls laugh because I do like a full like wellness day.
Oh,
it's
great.
like a little self-care day every time I'm not on, but I'm in the theater. She's in there. I've got like my little infrared sauna blanket. I do all my moisturizing, my hair masks.
That's amazing.
And then the next day you're like in the shower for 45 minutes, making sure it's all scrubbed off.
That's great. That's awesome. That it's like self-care means things for you too. And it kind of gives you a pick-me-up throughout the week as well.
Yeah.
Okay, so like going into the water act and preparing for that, what about the aerial, the aerial act? Is there any certain preparations there? Obviously, rehearsals are going to be different. You have a different partner, correct? Or
we have a different partner than our Mike who does the water.
Got it.
So we have maybe three aerialists usually on and off. And aerial is just all strength. It's just strength based. When I finally started to learn it, because I started with just water and then slowly weaned into aerial because it's its own beast. I just did a ridiculous amount of upper body conditioning, which I was very much not used to. I never did arms. I was that girly at the gym that was like legs every day, booty every day. Yeah. I was like, gotta make these thighs thick. And then I was like, now we gotta lift those thighs. And that was a struggle. Yeah. But I did just months. I think it was like 3 months of intense like upper body training and conditioning and adding that in to everything. A lot of core, just so that I could hold myself up and like feel strong for myself and again for my partner, so that they weren't just sort of moving around dead weight. And then aerial took a little while. I think we rehearsed it for like a month and then slowly integrated it, just doing aerial and then doing both aerial and water in the shows. And it's actually, funnily enough, become maybe my favorite. I love doing it. It's so thrilling. Yeah, it's just such a cool... it's such a cool act. Like, depending on who you have to, like, we all have a different way of finessing it, and it's so connected. Same thing as water as well, but it's just like you really connect with your partner and you kind of like lose yourself in this moment. Again, we have this like spotlight, so you can't really see the audience, so it just feels like it's us, and like whisper to each other while we're doing it and like check in, and it just feels like such a fun, exciting thing. And I specifically learned that apparatus for the show. I had done aerial silks and like a little bit of pole and stuff, but only just for myself, just for funsies. And so for the show, it was the first time that I had ever really like performed any kind of aerial act, and I had never used those braids before. They're so cool. So cool.
I bet it feels like you're flying up there. Like, I mean, at least from our audience view, it looks awesome. I mean, that's similarly why I enjoy doing like b-boying, breaking, and like doing flips, because I just feel like I'm like soaring. You know, it feels like a superpower almost, that like you get to do that, and your body is capable and able to be able to do that. Like the mobility of it, the functionality, all the preparation. Like, because we're only seeing the tip of the iceberg, right? Because obviously, me being a performer myself as well, like knowing the preparation that comes with it has to become the lifestyle. It's not just like, well, I'm preparing this week specifically. No, it starts to become an everyday thing. And then lifestyle. That's the best way I can put it. It changes your habits, what you got to do that day, what the agenda is, because it surrounds around your profession. Ultimately.
Yeah, it's true. It's I was coming from the commercial world, which was a lot of TV, film, short stints. I think the longest contract I had ever done was maybe like 3 months, you know? And so this is the first time that I was stepping into a long-standing theatrical
like more
project.
Residency.
Yeah. And it really was that. It was this learning curve of changing your entire life, because now your life is your full-time job, which is the show. So I wasn't afforded the ability to kind of tap out of it. You
Yeah,
know, like
yeah.
we have our weekends or, you know, our days off, but your entire life becomes making sure that you are physically fit, that you feel good, that you look good, that you can perform because your job is to perform.
Yeah.
It was no longer like, I teach a fitness class here and then I go and I do like a commercial for a day and like, you know,
Yes.
everything is
Calculated in a
yeah,
way.
how
and-
you
yeah.
how you can be good for yourself and for the show.
Yeah, got it.
Yeah.
Okay, so now going off of obviously your Magic Mike and what we kind of like think, or when you say that to somebody, just a general audience, you say Magic Mike. What's the first thing you think of, right? You think of hot guys, no shirts, abs, chest, lean,
Yeah.
hot, right? But a lot of the time still I will get the reaction of, oh, there's ladies that dance in the show. Oh, they're, you know, they have strong, powerful women in there. And I'm like, yeah, they do. And so like the first thing they don't think, there's a lady feature in there at all. And so with being a feature in the show, opposed to like being throughout the whole show, right? We'll say the two acts combined together are like 15 minutes
Yeah.
throughout the show, but it's like focused on you, and it's when you're on, right?
Yeah.
How does that feel to do feature act versus having to run the whole show?
You know, it's different.
Yeah.
I like it because it's sort of a surprise, like you said. Like, it's not necessarily what people think. And I think that it's in the perfect spot in the show. It's just been so well thought out, so well directed and produced that by the time we come out, it sort of it's everything that the show stands for all culminated into this one moment. Like, the point is that I am a direct reflection of the women that are there. Like, I am every woman that is sitting there. And this is our moment. And it's this really real experience of, you know, you meet this guy and you guys take yourselves through the, like, we meet, we're in the elevator, everything's cute, now it's getting a little hotter, and it's, you can feel the audience draw in, including us. Like, we are so lost in what we are doing that you just sort of feel this, like, high. And the hope, for me at least, is that every woman that's sitting there watching is like, that's me, and I'm gonna go home and I'm gonna take this confidence and this excitement and this sort of like womanliness that I have experienced and bring that into my own life. It presents its own struggles with, let's say, staying warm for an entire show, or like being ready to go. Like, the guys get to warm up and kind of keep going throughout the entire show, whereas we're in the back kind of like taking a hot shower and then warming up for an hour. But that in and of itself, going back to the lifestyle change, has just become part of my life. Like, I really look forward to that now. I know exactly when I need to, like, take a shower, or like jump in my sauna blanket and then get like nice and warmed up. You can get a stretch, you know, a lot of active stretching, a lot of foam rolling, and making sure that, like, your body feels ready, because we go from 0 to 100.
100, yeah.
You know, once you're in, like you said, like, that's it. You're just like full out, and then we change really quick, and then we jump back in, you know,
Yep.
and we're dangling from the sky. So there's a lot of preparation and then a lot of recovery that's involved. But I think it's such a nice, like, little surprise almost when it does happen.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, being able to be in the audience, and I've seen the show a few times, so I knew it was coming, but getting the reciprocation of everybody's energy, I did feel a lot of women feel like they were kind of channeling their own selves through you, and like things that they can't do. They can't dance in the water. They can't, you know, do aerial and stuff. You're doing it, but they feel empowered because you are a representation of that, and that does a very good job at conveying that message and getting that through. At least for me, when I was observing and all. So, obviously, being in the show, like, you have to care about your looks physically, right? In our industry, sometimes we do need to have a certain body type to book a job, right? Whether it's like, you know, petite waist, big arms, big chest, ripped abs, right? For somebody that has to kind of be more meticulous and detailed and observant of their own physical form and self. Do you ever experience, the body image issues, or have you seen anybody else going through it, and kind of like what is your experience with that, and how do you kind of go through that and kind of coincide with that? Because sometimes on days you'll feel great, and then some days you'll feel not great.
Yeah.
So like, what is your journey kind of like with that?
Yeah, it's definitely. Look, it's been a struggle. I think that dance is a visual art, like you said, and so there's a lot of pressure. And I think we are moving as a community and as a culture slowly out of that into more of a healthy perspective of what people should look like, women should look like, men should look like. But it's still there, and I think depending on your training, like I grew up in ballet, and so there was a lot of like, well, you need to have a ballet body, and this is what it's supposed to look like.
You need to have this.
Ballet was my first love, and I had to experience that like little death of I don't have the right body for that. So that was hard, and then I moved into contemporary and all these other things, but even that presented its own issues. I mean, I went to performing arts school, so all day, every day, we were in leotards and tights and just staring at ourselves in mirrors, and amongst a group of 20 other people who were also doing the same thing and just sort of comparing. And once I got into the industry, the commercial industry, I felt that I was either too small or too short or too big. They wanted more full-bodied girls for this thing, but they wanted like skinnier, more model type girls for this thing. I'm a small gal, like I'm 5'3", so there was a lot of height issues where you're not right for this, and so there is this understanding and acceptance of what's meant for me is meant for me, and I can do the other things. Like if I wanted to be a showgirl, sure, maybe there will be some world where they want a 5-foot showgirl, but you do sort of release a bit of that. All of these things definitely led to some body dysmorphia. I think that I can go back as far as I can remember, especially deeply in like high school, of it sort of starting, and I still to this day will look at photos of myself from periods of time where I hated my body, and was trying everything in my power to change it, and I look back and I'm like, I look beautiful, I look so great, I don't understand what I was seeing. So your eyes and your mind are insanely powerful. I've tried really hard, especially over the last few years, to feel a bit better about that. In this instance, I'm pretty much naked in the water. It's just bra and undies in the water almost nightly. And that put a huge focus. Again, we talked about giant spotlight above you, and I would feel so powerful and so beautiful live and in the moment. And then I would watch videos back and just rip myself to shreds.
Yeah, wow.
And I feel like that's reflective of just like life in general. You in the moment you feel so connected, and then you leave and you're like, God, I should have said that. I should have done that. I started to feel this disconnect between reality and my perception of reality, and kind of started to attribute it to like all these things, i.e. like body dysmorphia and stuff. And I was like, okay, I really need to work on this, because there should be zero reason why in the moment I feel so connected and I feel like these like incredible happy endorphins, like, that state of flow, let's say, and wildly connected to the show and the audience and stuff. And we have amazing time. And then I go home and someone tags me in a video and I'm like genuinely embarrassed at myself, which makes truly no sense. Like that is this like super harsh inner critic that I just needed to work on. I feel better now. It took stepping away from watching myself. Like I refused to watch any videos, anything at all. Like, and if I saw it, I challenged myself to just repost it and not think about it. It took a second, and it's definitely getting better. I think that this role, as much as it challenged me in the beginning in this specific arena, it really helped me grow into a place where I was like, I am every woman. I'm not going to sit here and be like, oh, well, if I was more shredded. Like, it's unattainable, and at least for me, we all have different body types. I think it's so wildly important to just love your own body. That doesn't mean be complacent. Like, I know if I have done myself a disservice by like not working out or not eating properly, like not fueling myself properly. It's not so much about not letting myself have what I would want.
Yeah.
Like, your girl loves a chip, but like it's more that, am I giving myself what I need to be able to, again, do what I love, which is this show and performing? Am I treating myself in a way of just like immense respect for myself, for my body, for what I want in the long run, instead of like leaning into this temporary gratification? And then can I also just like sit comfortably in how that reflects in my body? Like, I don't need to wake up today, which again is a natural like thought process. Like, we talked about it, like wake up and you like immediately look in the mirror and I'm like, ooh, I'm looking snatched. Like,
That's me.
you know, and I mean, dude, I did it today. Like, I slept
yeah.
with a castor oil pack because I love everything holistic wellness. And I woke up this morning and I was like, okay, we're looking snatched.
Nice.
But, you know, especially for women, like our hormones are different times of the month. I'm going to look different. Like, so I was just like, I got to stop gaslighting myself about literally everything and like taking it all so deeply. Like, as long as I feel that I am respecting my body and that I feel good, as in like literally, like I woke up this morning and I don't feel like ill or sick or bloated, like I'm not ignoring a problem, then I don't need to sit here and be like, oh my God, I've got an extra inch around my thigh. Like, my body is healthy. I can move. I'm grateful. So that's what we're trying to do.
That's amazing.
That's how we're trying to move forward into this year.
I love that we're having this moment right now and talking about this, because I think when it is your moment, say at the show, and they're highlighting you and spotlighting you, and everyone around reciprocating it is like, wow, she must, you know, have it all, or like not have it all, but just kind of like she's great up here. Like, she thinks she's so beautiful. She's this and this and this. Honestly, like my mom wanted me to tell you this, and I told her maybe it might get into the episode, but she told me to tell you that you're really beautiful.
Thank
the
you.
way you held yourself up there was amazing. Everything. She was like saying how your body was perfect, and she was just raving over you.
Thank you.
And I was like, that's really awesome to hear. And I'm sure you would be appreciative to hear that, because we're all human. There's times where we're not in that spotlight. Most of the time, we're actually not in that spotlight because we're preparing for that. And then we get in there, we do our thing, we're highlighted, you know, and people say like, oh, she must have it all. She must have it all figured out. That and like, you know, she must feel confident all the time, and she's the best representation of us, and they see the peak of that, but they never see like what you have to kind of go through on a daily as well. So just wanted to let you know my mom complimented
Thank you
and wanted me to serve that to you.
Well, thanks, Mom.
Yeah.
No, I really appreciate that, and it is always so wild to me, because, you know, I hear that and I'm like, I hear it and I want to take it in, and it's just crazy that our brains are so, like, because I'm like, wow, thank you. I love that you think that I have a perfect body, because I have gone through so much time of not thinking that at all, and constantly, you know, you get to one state and you're like, well, now that's not good enough. Like, I did a complete I definitely don't know what the wording is for this, but like, I think it's a recomposition of my body throughout the last year. I was in fitness. I've been in fitness for over 10 years now, like teaching and training and things. And so I was really, really fit and muscular. And then about a year and a half ago, my dad passed away, and I stopped everything. So I quit all my fitness jobs. I was just trying to like survive that time, and I lost all my muscle mass. I like shrunk in size, but like gained weight, you know? And so when I came back to the show, when I got into the show, I had no strength. I had to like rebuild all of that, and then completely change, like slowly build muscle, which obviously made me feel bigger, but then I had to like lose that. So I did a cut. Like, the amount of time
transforming your body.
And how long that takes, and how your brain plays tricks on you in thinking like it's not going fast enough. I don't see any change. Like I look exactly the same, you know?
Yeah.
And so it's always so wild and makes me feel really, really grateful to hear that. But I also want everyone to know that that's not, oh God, I don't know. Like I in that moment, I feel that I want to be a representation of like every woman and everyone in the show, and like just sort of lose ourselves past what it looks like and more into what it feels like. And I hope that, and I think that in that moment, because I'm pretty sure that show, I was like, oh, I feel really bloated. Like I knew that you were there. I knew that we had people in the audience, and I was like, I want to feel good, but like I wore like my high-waisted panties that night because I was like, I just don't feel good. And part of showing up is not just showing up for myself, but showing up for everyone and being like, I'm owning it today. Like I'm just gonna own it. I'm just gonna get out there and I'm gonna focus on the connection. I'm gonna focus on what I want to put forward, which is this like intimate moment that everybody gets to watch. And not think about what I think my body looks like, and instead what it feels like. You know?
Yeah, definitely. And I think that's the really important part to take from it is listening to your body and how you feel that day, opposed to always just going off of the weighing scale. A number. I was so toxic about numbers on a weighing scale, and I was like, if it was even 1 pound up, oh, I blew it. I did something wrong. Now I got to totally scrap my eating plan, and now I'm going to do something else. I'm going to take all carbs out and just go like extreme.
Yeah.
And then I wouldn't like that. My body wouldn't respond well, and then I would just eat a burger and fries, and I'm like, see,
exactly.
Like,
well, because it's so deeply. Like emotional based, like food, you know, is such a
comfort.
Yeah, it's a comfort thing. It's like a suppressor of these like stress hormones, and the more stressed about it you get, the more you want to turn to food, especially if that is your comfort thing. Like the more you want to turn to it, so you're just constantly in a state of like stress, which then also like causes inflammation. And like, so I just focused on wellness. I don't actually even know how much I weigh. I stopped looking at a scale because it was making me insane. You know, like I'd wake up one day and I'm like, how did I gain a pound? And like you go nuts. So I just like cut all of that out. I just focused on wellness and like was like, I just want to like feel good and just stop making myself feel crazy. You know?
Wow. Well, I mean, I think that's really eye-opening, honestly, like even sitting here listening to you say those kind of things and just kind of playing back to when we did watch you perform and just having the moment of observing everyone's reciprocation to like your guys' act and how they just felt like they thought you had it all. And you passed all that stuff already. So it's great to see the human factor of things and the fact that it is an everyday thing. Again, very ear-opening, eye-opening, and I hope people can relate to this kind of topic because it's not just for entertainers. It's not just like in our industry, in our line of work, but it is especially in our line of work. But just on a generally, really, like yeah, I mean, I can give examples all day, but I'll have people the same thing. They'll tell me like, wow, you look jacked, you look good, you look all this. And I'm like, I don't think so. I think I have all this, and then I could tear my body apart, break it down all day, every day. But it is really important to just even witness and observe somebody that kind of looks like in a way, because you see a show, you'll see a show and people think like, oh, you're at a certain level because you're in a show, right? Fair. But then they think that now that you don't carry this weight of struggles or just kind of like what a normal person or a regular person would carry, but we're all very similar to that. And I think it stems into a lot of, like nutritional stuff too, and stress and like what part of your life are you in right now? Like, are you in a very stressful moment? Did you unfortunately lose somebody? Did you in a breakup or something that's going to trigger it? And we always think it's us. And we start like hating ourselves and we're like, oh, it's me. There's something wrong with me, something wrong with my body. It's my genetics. It's this, or if I didn't eat this. And then you keep breaking yourself down to then it almost, lack for a better term, it almost becomes the death of you because
Yeah.
like you're just doing this all the time, and then
You lose yourself.
yeah, and then for example in our industry, then I don't go to an audition because I psyched myself out, and then I find out there was like 10 people only that went to the audition, and I'm
Yeah.
like, I could have went and killed it.
Yeah.
But what did I do? I psyched myself out in my mind, and I told myself, no, you're not good enough. No, they're gonna make you take your shirt off, so you're not ready yet.
Yeah.
Well, when am I going to think I'm ready? I have to just give myself that trajectory. I got to
Exactly.
spring myself there, and then you never know, right? So,
Yeah. And
yeah.
if I've experienced anything or learned anything, it's that like the growing never really stops, or the changes never stops. Like, I think change is the only constant. So every single time you get to a point that you think, oh, I'll be happy if I get here, or like I'll feel better if I get here, and just in general, like not even just body wise, like hugely body wise, but like just in life too. Like every job I've ever gotten, I'm like, amazing, this is going to be incredible. And then you get there and you sit in it for a second and you're like, okay, cool. Like what's next now? Next
Yeah,
is this.
yes.
And like the same with my body. Oh, if I just get to this weight, you know, I want to be, I don't know, 110 pounds or something. And then you get there and you're like, oh, okay, but now I don't feel strong. Now I need to gain muscle. Oh, but now that put weight back on the scale. Now I need to like loot. And you just keep on going back and forth. Yeah, this ping pong experience. And like, I don't know. I feel like life should be more than that, you know? And you can't give anything to anyone, to your art, to yourself, to the people around you, if you are constantly in this state of just like grievance over your existence, you know?
start projecting it.
Exactly.
You know what I mean?
And then you just feel like a miserable
Yeah.
version of yourself.
Yeah.
So it's just like there's always going to be some sort of work that needs to get put in. It's just never ending. I just think like part of becoming an adult for myself at least has been this acceptance that like that is life, you know. I think I used to think that I would get to a point and everything would be amazing, and like when is that point going to come? And it only made me more and more sad and ill, and like just waiting for this thing to fall into my lap that's going to make me feel so fulfilled. And I thought sometimes that was weight, sometimes that was work, sometimes that was, you know, life, sometimes that was a city, blah blah blah. And I finally got to a point of just being like, okay, well, my piece is me. So I need to look inwards and be like, why do I feel this way? Why do I feel unhealthy? Maybe it's because I am coming back from a show and it's midnight, and because I've starved myself all day so that I would like look good in my underwear. Now I'm ravenous. So I'm just going to like eat everything in sight, and then I'm going to feel like shit.
Yeah, yeah. You
know, sorry.
Yeah. Okay.
And then wake up the next morning and then not feel good and didn't sleep well, blah, blah, blah. Like there is this turning towards yourself and being like, okay, girly, like you need to maybe get your stuff together and like look at where you're doing yourself a disservice, start again, and just like be real with yourself, embrace the change, embrace the work. That's part of life. There's no like easy fix to anything, you know? And if you want this shot, like same thing, like what you were saying, you're holding yourself back from going to these things because you think that you're not right for it. How do you know? You literally don't know. You might as well put yourself in the line of sight, and sure, maybe they're like, okay, not for this, but they'll think of you for something else. Or you'll just feel good about yourself that you went in and you had a great audition, and then that will like move you forward into this next phase of your life where you're like, now I'm going to show up all the time. And now because I feel good, I want to work out. Because I feel good, I want to eat well. And I want to take care of myself and blah, blah, blah. It just like, everything in life feels like it just sort of ebbs and flows. And it starts with kind of just like loving yourself a little bit more, you know?
Yeah, absolutely. I think you hit the nail in the coffin with that one. Wow. Yeah, I mean, because I even take this in for myself too.
Yeah.
So it's like, as many people are listening to it, I'm also learning. And sometimes it just takes somebody to tell you that, you know, and so you've made connections for myself too. Wow, that was amazing. That was a great session interview with you. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you.
Thanks for coming in and really running it up with us here in the studio. Again, I think I've said this like 2-3 times now. We're lucky to have you in this space.
No, I feel very lucky.
And
Thank you.
yeah, it's I can talk about how great it is all the time to just have people to come out in their days and just take the time out and just speak person to person and just be real. and so that's what they really appreciate. So, shoot, where can they find you if people are here in Vegas? They're locals. Where can
Please
they
come
find
to
you?
the show. Come to Magic
Yeah.
Mike Live. You can follow me on Instagram at ellenatakos, and my
Yeah.
DMs are always open.
Sweet. Well, yeah. We had a great time here again today. All of us in the studio. Hopefully we can do this again.
I
next
would love that.
season.
Yeah.
But
Thank you.
Thank you. Appreciate the time. And that was our episode today on Call. I appreciate you guys. We want to thank all of you guys for tuning in to our season. Catch us on our next episode. You can catch us on any streaming platform, Spotify, Apple Music, YouTube. But in the meantime, we'll see you then.